Hello, Read Through the Word friends. Great to see you today. Today is Wednesday, August 14th. Today we're going to talk about the book of Jeremiah. We're continuing on in the prophets, continuing on in the very sad, crumbling decline of the kingdom of Judah. And so we're going to continue with that today. The name of our lesson today is Root Cause. And I've chosen 2 Chronicles 36:14, which says, "Likewise, all the leaders of the priests and the people became more and more unfaithful. They followed all the pagan practices of the surrounding nations, desecrating the temple of the Lord that had been consecrated in Jerusalem." Now, there's kind of a timeline here, and as you're going through, you know, piecing together the different parts of the chronological reading, you're piecing together a timeline here, right? After Josiah dies and Jehoahaz becomes king, Pharaoh Nico ends up taking Jehoahaz away in chains and makes Josiah's son Eliakim King, and changed his name to Jehoiakim. And then under King Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon invades Judah. Jehoiakim tried to rebel against Nebuchadnezzar. Jehoiakim failed. And then his son Jehoiakin becomes king, only for about 3 months. Nebuchadnezzar encamps against the city of Judah and seizes the city, captures the king, takes treasures from the temple, takes a bunch of them captive into exile in Babylon. The poorest of the land remain. And then the king of Babylon makes Jehoiakin's uncle Mattaniah king, changes Mattaniah's name to Zedekiah. And then Zedekiah is going to end up rebelling against the king of Babylon as well. The Babylonians, who were besieging Jerusalem for a time, they ended up withdrawing because they heard that the Egyptian army was marching out. So they had to withdraw and go deal with that. And Jeremiah warned Zedekiah that Pharaoh's army might be gone, or that the Babylonian army might be gone now, but they're going to come back and they're still going to capture Jerusalem and burn it down. Jeremiah is very clear with him, and that's kind of where the story ends for today. And you'll see how that turns out as you continue reading in the next couple days. But I wanted to focus on this timeline I just gave you for a reason. There's this timeline, right, of these kings who just keep thinking, I can solve this my way, right? I can solve it my way. I will rebel against this king. I will conquer. Oh, the Babylonians are gone. This is good. That means that we're going to be free or whatever, or we're going to be able to, be able to throw off the Babylonians. And Jeremiah keeps saying, no, no, and no. And it's amazing to me because, even after Jeremiah has prophesied things and they've happened, these kings still think, I can bandage this up. I can fix it my way. I can overthrow the Babylonians. We can throw off, we can escape, or we can whatever it is, or get Egypt to help. All these different things that are kind of taking place in this general time period. But the reason why I wanted to talk about the timeline was to again emphasize Jeremiah's words to King Zedekiah. That there's nothing Zedekiah can do to stop the inevitable. That the Babylonians will return and they will burn the city down. And yet, our key verse, the people, the leaders of the priests and the people became more and more unfaithful. Through all of this, they continued to be unfaithful. And I just thought, you know what they're ignoring? They're ignoring the root cause. They are trying to shuffle and accommodate and, just scheme and plan and think, how can we do this? How can we, how can we win? How can we be victorious? How can we get these armies from not having control of us? How can we, whatever? All the while, they are ignoring the root cause for why they are in this mess to begin with. And they are looking at every possible option to fix their circumstances, except for the one thing that really counts. The one thing that they need to do, which is turn around, turn it around, turn back to God, stop worshiping false idols, stop oppressing people, stop exploiting people, stop ignoring the poor, stop ignoring the widow and the orphan, stop defiling the temple, right? They're willing to try all of these things except for the one thing that's the root cause of their issue. And they're ignoring that one thing. And I thought, what kinds of things might we do that ignore the root cause? And we try to band-aid a situation, or we think we have great ideas to sort of smooth things over, to keep things going, to try to solve the problem without getting to the root cause. And, you think about medicine, you think about, illness or disease or whatever. I've talked a little bit about my own health journey. Getting to the root cause of what was going on in my body was really important. And that's when I started to begin to feel that there would be improvement, that there could be healing, right? And it could be something major, like you think about maybe a very fractured relationship in your life. Maybe there's someone that you are supposed to talk to because there's something going on and you have to approach it, and it's so scary, but you can't keep pretending everything is okay in this relationship and bandaging things up. You just can't do it because the root cause is never being addressed. And you have to confront that person. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you know that you've done something and you have to apologize and ask for forgiveness. Maybe there's something that has ruptured a relationship and it's so hard to humble yourself and to apologize because maybe that person hurt you too. Maybe you hurt each other. But it will never, and you can just sort of pretend and band-aid it, but it will never get fixed until you go to that person and you apologize and you ask for forgiveness with a sincere heart. Now, are there guarantees in relationships that when you do the right thing, the other person's going to do the right thing? No. But there is no hope of fixing the relationship without getting to the root cause. And we have to get to the bottom of what is really happening. I can think of an example, and in my own life, I just remember there was a season where I was having so much trouble getting out of bed in the morning and doing things that helped me in the morning to feel prepared, to feel ready. Now, I want to add a little caveat here because having been someone who has had PTSD, been through trauma, been through physical health issues, I definitely want to always sort of add a caveat to say, not getting out of bed and like doing your morning routine or getting up and getting going can be a discipline issue. It was for me for a while. It can also be other things. If you are recovering from trauma or a physical illness, or you're dealing with mental health challenges, please know that shaming yourself for not being able to get up and do things is never helpful. And there's a lot more going on. And it's not always about discipline. That would be another root cause, right? Like, why can't I get up and do the things that I know I need to do? Maybe there's something else, and you need to be compassionate with yourself and say, I really need to figure out what's going on in me that this is so difficult. So I just wanted to add that in there. Please have compassion for yourself. But this particular time period in my life, I was doing okay. And I had started to get up and, having 3 teenage girls. One is now 20, but at the time they were all teenagers. And I knew when they got up in the morning, I needed to be ready, which means I needed to get up. I needed to have time to just sit with Jesus, to read, do my chronological reading, to have some quiet, to maybe take a short little walk, to just get myself ready for the day. And when I did that, my morning with those 3 teenagers, and who knows what mood they'd be in that morning, but my ability to be able to help them and to really set the tone in my home was really important. And I remember days where it just wasn't going well, and I was like, oh, I have to do this or get them to do this. And I was trying to think of all these ways to sort of make the morning go better. But I was ignoring the root cause. I was ignoring the one thing that I knew my body, mind, and soul needed, and that was to get up earlier and to sit with Jesus, to do some stretching, to do some walking, to maybe have tea. I can't drink coffee, unfortunately. But that was the root cause. The root cause was I was missing that time in the morning. And when I did that, it's not like things ever went perfect or there weren't problems, but I was more prepared to greet the day, to greet my children. So that's just an example in my own life. It seems like a small example, but stuff like that can make a big difference. So what might there be in our lives today that could be hindering us, hurting us, delaying us from wholeheartedly living the life that God intended us to live? Let's get to the root cause. No more Band-Aids. What's going on in us? We have to work through it, right? We can ask, what is going on inside of me? And what does this situation require in order for me to get to the bottom of it so that I can wholeheartedly be living the life that God has for me? Thanks, friends. We'll see you next time here on Read Through the Word.